Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Project Educate, where we will be addressing the financial literacy gap to bridge the educational divide. So, to start us off, kind of want to start with the overall year as a John Lewis Young leader. Uh, First off, with the problem is it's clear that financial literacy gap creates long-lasting economic inequalities. So, I'll show in future slides that workers with college degrees can earn 3 times more than high school graduates. Yet only 38% of high school graduates have emergency savings compared to 72% of college graduates. So this is kind of one of the problems that financial illiteracy uh, causes, and we really need to address this gap. So the original plan here was to design an on-hands financial literacy program for Urbana-Champaign high schools. So that meant partnering with local businesses and the University of Illinois Credit Union to teach banking, investing, and debt management to level that economic field. So despite the reach outs, we couldn't secure a consistent school partnership that was needed for the program implementation. And that kind of led us to pivot. And my pivot was research, education, and providing resources. So uh, here we collectively, or I have shifted to comprehensive data analysis through FINRA's National Financial Capability Study to document the financial knowledge gaps that impact students and families over time. So FINRA is a leading regulator of financial institutions, and they take annual surveys to try to understand how Americans feel about their financial health, not only their financial health, but how they're feeling with spending time with family and spending money with family, or feel about purchasing certain products that they need in life. So this kind of gives us a view of how the disparities come about. And then, so why does this matter? COVID-19, uh, just a few years ago, which is crazy to feel like that, hit unprepared families the hardest, where 30% of young adults lost jobs compared to 11% of older workers, right? So once again, wanting to become the younger generation. And earlier financial education has been proven to create generational wealth building opportunities that break poverty cycles all throughout the country. So the next steps is going to be to use data-driven evidence to re-engage school partners and demonstrate the concrete economic benefits of financial programming. So instead of hopeful reach outs, here we're doing, this is the problem, really showing them how possibly bad it can be and the need for implementation of a program. So this is just a little context. I'll quickly hop over to the energy crisis. So here we see that only 36% of it's on the survey that you can find below correctly answered basic probability questions that are essential for financial planning. So since younger generations grow to being adults, we need to make sure that financial literacy is at the top of the agenda here. And as long as this education, exists, we can try to avoid these pitfalls. So this is the 2021 FINRA, the financial regulator study. They pretty much asked which of the following indicates the highest probability of getting a particular disease. So here the answer is, with a little bit of thought and understanding of probability, um, the results are very clear. You know, this is a question that's worded in different ways. So uh, personally, it can get a little confusing, but this kind of highlights how 36% of people, of Americans answer this question correctly. And it's in a sense because obviously there's a 1 in 20% chance of getting the disease would be the highest probability. So this is just kind of a quick rundown, but I'll be moving into the economic. So the economic reality of educational impact on race you know, um, over several years is clear. So this data, personally pulled this data raw. So I pulled it from government databases, processed the data, and I created this chart. So we have data from 1973 till 2022. And I've also created this forecast through a coding platform. And it's pretty clear that education should be a top priority for young adults in America. We see that, since 1973, that the education level that is less than high school or high school has barely changed, whereas education levels such as bachelor's degrees and advanced degrees, and the gap there is getting a little bigger. Um, there's been a divergence where they're just making more and more money over time. And so part of the financial literacy that needs to be done is showing students the potential that college and university may have. And what's very important is to show students how a degree can be achieved and how they can do that financially. A lot of families have financial struggles. And so what really needs to be done is these students need to be shown fellowships, scholarships. They need to be shown possible opportunities through their state, local governments, and of course the federal government, um, where hopefully the Department of Education thrives on and really starts lending students a greater hand in their lives. So now I want to move on to who gets left behind. So it's pretty clear who gets left behind. So, consistent with the previous data that I've shown from the first slides, there is a massive uh, disparity amongst different demographic groups. So, first of all, younger respondents, which is what we really want to focus on, underserved communities, those with lower incomes, lower education levels, African American, Latino families, show higher levels of vulnerability across multiple metrics of financial capability. And so, the problem here is that it seems like uh, certain demographics are getting an upper hand because of the opportunities that they have in life, and it seems like those opportunities aren't getting passed on to different groups of the country, and it is on us, those who have this education, to share it with everybody else. So, yeah, now I'd like to move on to the providing the justification and how can we share these resources. So, um, the evidence and data-based framework. So, when showing benefit to high school administrators or teachers, we want to target that 34 point in emergency savings for college graduates and high school students. So really show them how dangerous it can be, t- you know, to future generations by not letting know what can truly happen here. So what we also want to do is we want to leverage findings from FINRA to show the 18-point advantages in financial behaviors for program justification. And then what really needs to be targeted is because of this research, emergency savings, prioritization of education and its financing, credit management, and much more. So path forward here is I've created a report that students, families, high school administrators, anybody can access. It's a 5, 6 page report with, of course, everything, and the data in there has been collected and processed through my hours of work in conducting uh, the data processing. So we have a report that's available for anybody to use. But the path forward here is to, provide a future approach, moving away from that hopeful reach out of, hey, they need it, but we have nothing to support that with. So now we have an evidence-based approach. So, not only the demographic disparities amongst young adults and between demographics and between education levels, there is a compelling argument for that intervention to occur. So this research now shows that uh, it can only benefit schools, right? We have the reports, we ran the numbers, we've shown how important this is. And so now we are creating, still pathways for the original $1,000 investments to generate long-lasting community impact. So, the report and whatever the students need uh, could be the path forward. So thank you very much, and I'll open the floor to any questions.